Viewer discretion is advised.
Today is October 1st, 2020. It's currently just before 8 o'clock in the morning. I am reluctantly heading out to location. The reason for this investigation is due to the fact that, some family members of mine are going to be out of town. Need someone to watch special needs dogs. Now this house, I'm going to happens to be of importance to me. It's the house where I grew up. And it's where two of my most life-changing moments took place. The first that occurred was me taking my own life and being brought back by the Archangel Michael, who, just before bringing me back, introduced me to a little girl that may be my daughter I have got to have. The second incident is the day that my grandfather lost his life to cancer. My grandfather basically raised me as one of his own. Being that I was the oldest grandchild, I was the one that had the most time with him. The reason why these both matter is because the same little girl who appeared to me when I died appeared near my grandfather. He could actually see her just before he passed. Ramblings of a dying man? Maybe. The room my grandfather died in was the room where I tried to take my own life as well.
Olivia.
Dad. Dad. Dad.
Hey y'all, my name is Dakota France and I'm here speaking about ghoststop.com. Are you wanting to go on your own ghost hunts? Do you need the equipment but have no clue where to go? This is where you need to go, my friends. You can check some of this out. It has some of the best equipment out there, as well as some of the best knowledge about the field. If you want to be able to get your hands on some quality equipment from some quality people, this is where to go. You can check out this link up here. You can order online, order on the phone, or if you're in the St. Cloud, Florida area, you can check them out in person. You can also check out these reviews. Look, Jason Hawes. Now, he's a good guy. Check him out. Use this link. Go! 2020 seemed like it was crazy. But do you think you're going through something that nobody's going to be able to understand? Do you need somebody who will help you out with those things going bump in the night? Or do you think something truly disturbing and evil is going on? I'm here to help. My name is Dakota Franson, and I've been dealing with these things all my life. I'm the last person who will judge you. No matter where you are in the world, I will do my best to help you. If I decide to take your case, I've already determined you're the real deal. Just listen to what this guy had to say. And listen very carefully. You just may hear the reason why I took his call.
The number for Dakota Franson's range. If you believe you'll reach this number in error, hang up and enjoy the rest of your day. If you believe this is a genuine paranormal incident, then please do leave your name, number, and a brief description of what's been going on, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
I don't know if I have the right number. I don't know if you could help me, or send somebody who might be able to help. Something's in my house. It's trying to come after my son. Please, I'll pay anything. I'll just help me. Things are getting thrown around. My wife's waking up scratched up, like she got attacked by fucking Wolverine or something. Now, it looks like this is going after the kid. We don't know what to do. Just please help us.
And we now return to our regularly scheduled programming. Beware of what is to come. I'm standing in the middle of Myrtle, Idaho. This town and I have a lot of history. I grew up here. Some of my very first ghost hunts were here. Just past this train car here. Side of my very first ghost hunt, right there. My grandfather used to actually be the foreman for the local highway department, so that's how I got in there. Surprisingly active location. Don't know how much of it's still going on. Honestly, I don't really care to come back to this town much. People aren't exactly very kind to outsiders. And a lot of times, they viewed me as the ultimate outsider. It's also a bit of an unfortunate reputation for these people that push individuals to taking their own lives. I honestly hate feeling like this, hate coming back here. Ever since the day my grandfather passed away, it hasn't really felt like much is left for me here. This is a heavily emotional case, and it is. It's preoccupied my mind for pretty much half my life. I'm only 24 years old right now. The incident where I first met Olivia happened when I was 12. It wasn't my first encounter with the supernatural, but it was definitely the most meaningful. At the time, I was living with my grandparents. Basically, there was, teenage rebellion phase, and got to the point where my grandparents offered to let me live with them for a bit, and I took it up. But unfortunately, Murta, Idaho doesn't exactly have the best reputation with people. And it got to me. I'm not proud to admit how much it got to me, but it did. So, that paired with arguing with family members, just I came to realize that it felt like I wasn't meant to be there. Unfortunately, the state of mind I was in at the time exaggerated that, where I wasn't meant to be here, living on this earth anymore. I didn't want to be around. I don't want to be around that type of people, you know? No one does. No one wants to get treated like that. Unfortunately, nowadays, it's gotten all worse. So that's why I try to do these things. I talk about my story, because maybe it'll help somebody, and maybe it'll help Olivia's mom, whoever she may be. Anyway, so this part may be a little concerning to some viewers, but one night I finally decided it was enough. I tried to hang myself with my belt. There was a closet in my bedroom at the time. I tried to hang myself in there. The intent was to make it as quiet as possible, so whoever found me the next day would have no clue what was going on. You know, to make that, I was honestly wanting to hurt people by taking my own life, but I don't feel like that anymore. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. For those of you who may be concerned about my well-being, I'm better, okay? I'm good. I'm here talking about it because I want to help people get out of that. And it's because of the thing that stopped me that I was able to pull out of it, that I've been able to work to slowly become the man who I am. So what had happened, I started feeling my life slip away, and all of a sudden this bright blue flash of light just pops out of nowhere. And I mean, this thing was powerful. It completely overridden my senses. I couldn't see, I couldn't hear, I couldn't feel anything. I just felt like I was floating in nothingness. A few moments go by and my vision starts to adjust, and all I see is around me is just this vast blue void, for lack of better terms. And you know, I could see things moving around me, and the best way I know to describe it was like being underwater. The way the things were moving around me. I tried to look around and see what was going on, see if I could make out where I was, but because I wasn't in the enclosed space of the closet anymore, I was in this vastness, and it just completely blew my mind. For some reason at the time, the only thing I was able to move around was my eyes. I started to be able to make out more details about what was going on around me. Then all of a sudden, my attention gets drawn to this bright figure that appeared in front of me. It looked like a person, it looked like a man, but his image was kind of blurry, like how mine, a little bit like mine is, with my camera trying to focus solely on me in this dark room. It was enough, there was enough detail, though I could make out it had kind of like long brown, kind of a dark blondish type hair, kind of lighter skin. It wore a white robe. Naturally, that brought one image to mind, but historically speaking, the character we know as Jesus Christ nowadays, unless there's some sort of hidden scripture out there that archaeologists have yet to find that say he's a fucking albino, That was not his appearance, most likely. This guy, entity, whatever, I could feel emotion coming from him. It was caring, it was loving, it was concern about what I was doing, if anything. But I didn't feel nervous. Naturally, I was, being in that situation, but the closer he approached to me, the more those feelings went away, and it was just the only thing that really remained was curiosity, if anything. Like, where am I? Who is this person that's in front of me? You know? And I think it's fair for anybody to have those thoughts running through their head in that moment. A few more details on the guy started to appear, then all of a sudden he stops right in front of me. And I could see what looked like a smile starting to peer through his image, for lack of a word. He said, you know, Dakota, there's someone here to see you. It was this strong but soft voice. Like, it was commanding. It was leadership-like in a way. But it wasn't, it was more, come, let's do this. If that makes any sense whatsoever. So, after this guy spoke, he stepped aside, and there's this little girl behind him. The first thing I noticed is that this little girl looked just like me. Those who are watching this, who actually know my family, know that I have an uncle who I bear an almost identical resemblance to. Our mannerisms are the same. The way we move, the way we hold ourselves is the same. Our laughs are the same. We are so much alike that my uncle's kids will sometimes call me dad without realizing it. Just to illustrate this. And my uncle, this uncle in question, he has twin girls. This little girl that was appearing in front of me looked just like one of them. And I bring this up because later on, as I conducted the experiments for this presentation, she appeared again. And she looked just like her. Anyway, when she appeared to me initially, she was bawling her eyes out. She knew what I was doing. And my heart just sank because even though I had never seen this girl before or had no recollection of her, I felt guilty about what I was doing. And my heart just sank. And it was enough to where I was more present in the moment and was able to start moving around. My body just dropped to its knees as this little girl runs up to me and gives me this big hug. She looks me in the eye, and she had these big, beautiful blue eyes. And she says to me, Daddy, please don't do it. Before she gives me a kiss on the cheek, and for some reason, that ended the vision. After that, I would see her every now and then, just kind of poking her head around, you know, smiling and waving, but nothing too substantial. Naturally, I want to know what happened. Is this actually my daughter who is somehow time traveling? I needed to know this. What did I just see? But I knew how crazy it sounded. I've honestly feared for years that I was going to get institutionalized or experimented on just to try to figure out what the hell's going on inside my head. I also knew that if they tried to medicate me, it would take that ability away to see her. I don't know how I knew that, I just knew it. The second major incident where she appeared, my grandfather passed away. He had been fighting cancer for about 5 years before that, and finally caught up to him. I was left in charge of keeping my sister and my cousins at the time and the family dogs locked in one room, so that way emergency personnel could have a clear path. They can walk in and out of the house as they needed to without having kids or dogs underneath their feet. This little girl, she knew this was an important date for me, so she appeared to check on me. And I told her it's okay, but can you just see what's going on in the other room? She did, and somehow I was able to see everything through her eyes. The part that was weird, though, is that my grandfather, during his last moments of life, said, "Hey, you need to get that little girl out of here." And this little girl, she even freaked out when she saw that, because neither one of us knew that was even possible. It was shortly after that day that I finally gave her the name of Olivia. I asked her if she liked that name, and she said that was okay. The full name I gave her was Olivia Hope. I was running into so many dead ends in trying to research this thing over the years that I just wanted, if this little girl was going to keep popping up, I should at least give her a name, right? I couldn't keep just referring to her as the little girl. She was there. She helped me through a lot. For some ungodly reason, she was there to help me. I could at least know her name. And that was the first thing that popped into my head for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know where I got it. The most I've ever heard that name was because I happen to have like a second cousin whose name is Olivia. That's unfortunately, being that time travel is a factor here, we're going into the most confusing game of chicken and egg. The third incident, Olivia didn't stick around as long, but I actually got into a car accident. And just moments before the pickup truck hit me, I was alone in that car. And all of a sudden, Olivia pops up next to me just moments before impact, screaming, "Daddy, look out!" Then, after I got hit, that blue light came back. And I've only seen that 2 times before. Once during the first encounter with Olivia, and the second time, multiple occasions, when I could have very well have been dying from organ failure because my gallbladder was shutting down. And I vaguely remember seeing my dead relatives, who were confused as hell because I seemed to flicker in and out of what I firmly believe now was heaven. I was able to flicker my consciousness between heaven and earth. Familiar blue light came, and there was this figure that came out. It was my grandfather. Eventually I came to. The paramedics said, "Hey, big guy, you want to come with us?" I was like, "Yeah, probably should." During the ambulance ride, they asked me, he's like, "So, Dakota, you feeling okay?" You know, all the usual questions. Then they go say, "If you're not feeling pain, why'd you come in the ambulance?" It's like, I looked at them and said, because after I got hit, I just saw my dead grandpa. You want the quickest way to freak out a couple of paramedics? Tell them that you got hit so hard you saw dead people. And they did CT scans. Nothing there that should have caused any sort of hallucinations whatsoever. There was not any sort of damage like some people theorized when it comes to these things. The fourth, and what I thought was the final time I saw Olivia, was when I was 19 years old. I lost my fiance a few months prior, and I was on a trip to Paris and Rome. And while in Paris, I was on a riverboat cruise. All of a sudden, I feel this tap on my shoulder, and I'm thinking riverboat. I was standing in the way of someone's picture, and they were, going to ask me, "Hey, can you scooch over?" I was like, hey, sorry. So I looked over my shoulder. I was like, "Oh, hey, sorry." Then I realized who was standing behind me. My late grandfather, who grew back his hair. He actually looked younger. He looked like his pictures from a video that my mother put together for his funeral. He looked like pictures from when he was still in his 20s. My grandfather was in his 50s when he passed. And standing right next to him was Olivia. It's like, up until this point, I honestly thought that at least 2 separate women were Olivia's mother. One was a middle school crush who happened to start messaging me the day after the first incident took place. The second was my fiance, who passed away while pregnant with not my child. And she looked at me and said, "Daddy, just keep fighting. Mommy's gonna need you to fight for her." Honestly, this brought tears to my eyes. But even though I've been looking for I've been going around all this time trying to figure out what happened, eventually caving, because I initially thought that religion was just a bunch of stories. Religious texts were nothing more than just a bunch of stories. Maybe they were true, maybe they weren't, I don't know, but after this, I'm not a believer. I know this stuff is real. I still needed answers. This whole, give it time, it's God's plan for you, wasn't going to work for me. I needed answers. How was that possible? How did my daughter move through time? Hello, my friends. I know this process is taking a while, but do bear with me. The good stuff is coming. But real quick, I would like to show you some of my other endeavors. That was a weak ass snap, but there we go. I just simply wanted to direct you to my website, dakotafranson.com. We have all sorts of goodies there. You can see information on all of my projects, not just paranormal related. Movies, books, video games. You can also see some of my businesses, as well as merchandise. Little something for everyone. It's also the best way to find me, to reach out to me directly, find my social media links, and find out what's coming up next. Are you interested? Like I said, dakotafranson.com. Be there. You'll never know what you'll find.
For the first experiment, Dakota will utilize an SB7 spirit box as a source of white noise, the Parallax ITC Android application, and the microphone on his Samsung Galaxy A50 smartphone. Spirits are allegedly able to use white noise in order to speak to the living. Some speculate that the spirits may be manipulating the sound waves from the static in order to produce noise. The Parallax ITC application promises to be a free alternative to the Ovilus device used on the television series Ghost Adventures, both of which use a variation of environmental readings to produce words. It is through a combination of these tools Dakota hopes provide any potential visitors from beyond an easy way to communicate and respond.
However, it should be noted that such experiments are never guaranteed to work thanks to the complex nature of the supernatural and anomalies within quantum theories believed to be the underlying cause of genuine paranormal reports. Such factors are only exaggerated, being that the possibilities of literal angels and time travel are present in cases, such as Dakota's Olivia paradox. It is also worth mentioning that you, the audience, would not be seeing this presentation if Dakota believed his experiments were failures.
When it comes to the divine, there's no way for anyone to really understand everything that's out there. The ways of God and the angels. Mankind has been trying to figure that out for years. As you know, I've been with the church almost 40 years now. And it wasn't until I met Dakota Franson that I truly knew the divine still walked among us. mercy on us if it is true.
People think I'm crazy for doing this. But quite frankly, I think it's more insane not to be looking into this. The things I've seen defied all odds. Had it not been for this connection to a possible Archangel, I would have been dead. I would not be alive today. I've died 3 times. A 4th almost came after I had to perform an exorcism on Vapula, a demon listed by King Solomon, who's also considered to be a Nephilim. This allowed me to defy odds in places I never expected. And it has made it to where anytime there's a genuine demonic threat, the second I am involved because of this connection to Michael, the threat is over when I step in. And people think I'm just trying to fill some void, trying to figure out who the living is and others. Yes, that is part of it. But the truth is, when it comes to the supernatural, it involves potentially killing someone, watching people die and somehow wait for them to come back to life in order to find out what the hell is going on. I've lost too many people in this field. I've lost my own life a few occasions. This is to find out why that's possible. This is to find out how it's possible. Because all indications mean that my daughter is coming. Olivia is coming. And when she does, it means my life may officially be over. It means my daughter may get hurt in ways I cannot help her. So it'd be damn lazy of me not to try. A lot of people don't even realize what I mean. It has been noted that psychic abilities manifest with head trauma through domestic violence. I've had all of that. That would be enough for some people to disclaim everything I presented in this video. But I stick by my story. I know for a fact something is wrong. Something big is coming. But then why should I waste my breath? How about I finally let you hear the tapes? Let you listen for yourself. Because this is big. Bigger than anybody's ever realized. October 2nd, 2020. EVP test 1.
ITC Legion Perilous loaded. Scanning.
Is there anybody in here willing to talk to me tonight? I would like to speak to her. Whoever's trying to come through the spirit box, can you speak a little louder, please? Grandpa, if you're here, if it's possible, can you help me out? Focus on me. Focus on the sound of my voice. Come to me.
Manifest. Beneath.
Beneath what?
Wings.
Michael? Is Michael here? Oh, that's not. Whoa, I just got lightheaded. Michael, is that you? Michael, Olivia, Grandpa, any of you, talk to me. Michael. Olivia, is that your mother? Is that your mother's name? Michael, please protect Olivia. How old are you, Olivia? Olivia, it's okay to talk to me. I want to see you, baby girl. You helped me watch it, remember? You give me something that tell me that you're here as well? Olivia. Okay, how about this? Have I already met your mother? Olivia, can your mom see things just like us? Does she have powers? Can you tell me who your mom is? Or is that Olivia's mom's name? Today is October 3rd. Is there anybody in here willing to talk with me this evening? Can you please give me something to identify yourself with? Can you tell me your name? Can you tell me your mom's name? Come closer, speak louder so I can hear you. All of a sudden I'm feeling heavy. Getting a little lightheaded right now. Someone's here. Michael, the Archangel, Saint Michael, Prince Michael, are you here?
Us.
I know you're here. I can feel you. Come talk to me. This is heavy.
With you.
I'm feeling this heavy sensation right now. I'm not alone right now. Olivia? What the hell? Olivia, are you in the closet right now? Oh my God. Yeah, baby, I see you.
Itself.
See you, baby girl. It's okay. Come on out. You can hear. It's okay.
Different.
Different? What's the matter? You know, I look different from last time you saw me. But trust me, I'm still daddy.
Float.
You know, can you float towards daddy? Okay. It's okay. Something is touching my hand. But I was being able to record this. If something is touching my hand right now. God, it's her. Who is Olivia's mother? If I just say I can't tell you. So Michael, was that actually you that I saw that day? Or did you send someone in your place? What the fuck? Is this Olivia? Is it Michael? I hate to interrupt any conversations that you're having, but Michael, or Grandpa, or Olivia, I know I keep asking this, but why did you guys save me? Olivia.
Dad. December.
What's gonna happen this December?
It's currently day 7. I missed a day of reporting because not much has happened in that time frame. I'm trying to keep myself still enough to be able to communicate this clearly, but I started this case in order to find some answers, but now it's taken a turn. Out of respect for the people involved, I can't go into too much detail. But hellhounds.
I know there is no way I can prove for certain that I made contact with the Archangel Michael. May have made contact with my daughter from the future, or with anybody from the dead. It's still impossible to do that. However, I know for a fact that the science is there, the proof in order to verify, to validate the existence of life after death, heaven, hell, time travel. It's there. It's just that more people are going to need to pull off the impossible. When I do these types of cases, one of the first signs that I have that I've successfully made contact, or I'm getting ready to head into a hot case, is that for some reason there's technical issues. Third EVP session that was the most active was lost due to technical difficulties. The hellhounds in question were trying to warn me of the other sign that something active was coming. During this case, I discovered that a family member was putting herself into dangerous situations. In review, a close family friend was hospitalized due to suspicions of having a stroke. And while it may not sound negative, but I've also found out that I'm going to be an uncle. when these things started coming forward, I knew that I was on the right track. And not long after I started this, an article started to circulate about the University of Queensland verifying that it may be mathematically possible for paradox-less time travel to take place. Meaning that Olivia coming back in time is only proof that I'm going to be a father. That no matter what happens to me, no matter the troubles I get in, I know as long as she is still yet to be conceived, if not born, I'll survive. One of the circumstances that's part of this situation that scares me. It's well documented that domestic violence, head trauma, can seemingly activate psychic ability. And studies have been done to show that people who experience psychic visions, air quotes for lack of better interpretation, who experience psychic visions, their brain activity shows that they are having a minor form of epileptic seizure. Which is interesting because there is such thing as the Shiva helmet, the God helmet, where it is said to artificially enhance those brainwaves in order to trigger psychic visions, near-death experiences, so on and so forth. Rumors spread that the United States government experimented with something similar for Project Stargate. Got to the point where they developed it enough to be able to perform psychic assassinations, which pulled support from the U.S. Congress for it, which is why the program got shut down. There are rumors from Project Stargate that psychic visions, astral projection, and all those weren't the only things that the subjects could do. Subjects who went under extensive testing, experimentation, what have you, she seemed to show enhanced abilities, superhuman abilities. Not only did they have psychic vision, seeing into the future, have some sort of clairvoyance, but higher charges indicated that there were rumors of telekinetic abilities manifesting. Some even stated that subjects could soon learn to teleport themselves. Even rarer occasions that the rumors are true, subjects were able to create objects out of thin air, starting with small, simple objects like little balls, just to keep it relatively easy. The science is there to validate everything that we want to do. You may think that I lied my way through this, but I faked this. Editing was only done to try to enhance the audio to the best of my ability. If this is my story, I'm sticking to it. This is my story. My survival. This is inevitably who I am. No matter how hard I try, no matter how hard I would want to, I can't change this about myself. And the hunt continues. As far as validating whether or not Olivia is my daughter, the fact still remains that there will be no proof other than the day she was actually born. While I'll admit that I've obviously falsely thought I found her mother on a few occasions, I honestly don't know who she is, where she is. There are people in my life, ladies in my life, one in particular, who I wouldn't mind seeing where something happened, where something might go if anything else. Nevertheless, I still have to let things go organically. The hunt will never end. The further down the rabbit hole I go, the more questions that arise. But it's time for me to truly embrace who I am. My name is Dakota Francis. I am the one and only specialist of the strange. And if I had to say anything in regards to this, a lot of people have asked me about somehow, or maybe one of us flat out assumed I was someone special because of the things I've been able to do in my life, the things I can't do. I don't see myself as anything special. Even though with Michael's help, I was able to fight off a grand duke of hell. And I'm thankful for him introducing me to Olivia. But part of me still has to wonder, you know? It still shocks me because so far I've known other incidents that are remotely close to where angels personally got involved with the arrival of a child was the arrival of Jesus. I'm familiar with parents seeing their children before birth. It's just, yeah, I'm probably trying to split hairs here, but I've only seen it dealt with one other incident. One other incident where angels were directly involved. Nevertheless, I firmly believe creation was started out of chaos. And taking the rumors of almost godlike abilities manifesting from people who were experimented on with Project Stargate, psychic abilities somehow being connected to epilepsy. One of the chances creation itself was going to be a byproduct of a celestial's epileptic fit. And that's what we know as the Big Bang. And what if the young girls who were persecuted, executed, hunted down during witch trials because epileptic seizures were often considered a sign of demonic possession? What are the chances that society effectively wiped out the majority of the DNA, which would create real-life superheroes? Some of my earliest ancestors were among the witches who died in prison. Stories of psychic abilities go through my family for almost 400 years. Hunting things, ghosts, monsters, gods. That's been involved in my family just as long. There was some sort of genetic disposition, but it's also the fact that when I was a baby, my mother accidentally threw me into the ceiling, which likely started it off. My earliest psychic episode was when I correctly predicted that my little sister was in my stepfather's uterus before she even started showing signs of pregnancy.